It's a little bit of a controversial title. I don't know if it's gonna be a little bit, you know, clickbaity or whatever it will be, but let's check it out, guys. Blizzard killed WoW Classic.
Son, the day you were born,
Oh, dude.
the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name
Arthas.
Arthas.
Dude. Java Monkey J presents. Okay.
On January 16th, 2023, WoW Classic officially died with the release of Phase 2 of Wrath of the Lich King Classic.
Dude, what is this, like a burial? Okay, I will say this, okay? I don't think Wrath of the Lich King is necessarily dead. I just think it's reached the point where everybody has their characters they play on and they just raid log.
Blizzard to capture the magic of the original game. Albert Einstein once said that the definition of insanity is repeating the same mistakes and expecting different results. And that's exactly what Blizzard has done with the subsequent releases of WoW Classic since the start of TBC. Releasing the same content was a given for Classic, but Blizzard has failed on two important fronts. First, they've only made minor changes and balancing adjustments, without taking into account how they could improve the game and maintain the community-driven experience the players loved. Second, they have failed to preserve the community-driven experience the vanilla version of the game fostered, which was, what I believe, the core of what it means to play a classic version of World of Warcraft.
That's kind of up to the community, though. You can't force people to play in a certain way. I will say that. I do agree with some of the stuff that he's saying here, but that's very much up to the individual player. And let's be honest, people play games very differently nowadays than they used to back in vanilla. Even in vanilla, like, people play it very differently now. I think hardcore and the whole that way of playing the game has kind of like fostered in a way, the vanilla feel of the game, but you can't really change the way that people want to play it, right?
To fully understand what I mean, let me first take you back.
Okay, to vanilla. Oh! Holy crap, it's a grizzly bear! Bonk! Warlock coming in here. The big orc versus Night Elf into... Oh my god, the Blizzard. This is such an epic trailer. World of Warcraft Classic. Okay.
You guys, today we're about to play the best game in the universe called...
Quick!
God, it's the launch.
This is it, boys. This is fucking it, man.
Damn.
People are dinging all around us. They're dinging everywhere.
This is so cool. I love the way Classic is right now, and like hardcore and everything like that, but dude, the Classic launch 2019 can just not be replicated, man. That was something so unique, man. Holy crap. What's up, Mufford? It makes you really want fresh, though, because, you know, maybe it could be replicated. 2013? No, 2019. Yeah.
Dinging in chat.
Fresh when chat
unfolded. It was actually a beautiful experience.
It was.
It really felt like an old MMORPG.
It
was
did.
a time when the game wasn't about the destination. It was really about reliving an old experience and existing in a previously forgotten world. Most of the video content that came out during this time as it relates to WoW was not guides and how-to videos. It was stories and adventures and player interaction. There were stories of legendary items being stolen.
My guild's GM just ninja'd Hand of Ragnaros maps, disbanded guild, and deleted Discord.
There were stories.
The amount of drama, man. Oh my god, that is his classic WoW in a nutshell, man. The drama. Holy.
Large guilds forming and falling apart. Tales of massive wars between hundreds of players, where they fought each other for hours over ambiguous reasons. There were PvP and PvE scandals like collusion, coercion, and stream sniping. Tales of degenerate rogues who came from nothing and by sheer force and will became the main characters of their server.
Then have a warlock summon me to this new location to gain
really good series. This Barney series was amazing.
Trek to Ironforge, walk in, and finally ding 60.
And finally acquiring the most sacred items in the game.
And because of this,
I'm a Scarab Lord, quest complete.
Stories of new players who discovered the most degenerate shit in this game, like an underground gambling ring, WoW girlfriend ERP,
top shelf certified 5-star banging WoW GF,
and gnome extortion, all in the name of...
Dude, I mean, I love it, man. Vanilla WoW is such a good slate for like stuff to happen. You know, it's not the most crazy, insane game, but it just had such good bare bones for stuff to add on it, right? It's so amazing, and that's what makes it so great, I think. Swag Victus is the best girl. Swag Victus was an amazing series as well by Ubu Danger. What's up, Gunner? Good to see you as well.
Reviewing this terrible game.
Slow and chill, yeah.
The things that all of these stories have in common are three things. One, a lot of people, even people that didn't play the game, were extremely interested in the unfolding community lore of the game.
Yeah.
These videos received millions of views.
It's crazy.
Whereas WoW Classic videos now only receive a fraction of the attention.
I mean, they don't get a lot lately, but I will say hardcore has been quite insane in terms of like the amount of people coming into it, and vanilla lately there has been a big surge again in like in you know, classic WoW, but I don't think it's been as, you know, insane as like vanilla WoW and like classic was in 2019. That was a whole different ball game, right? But there's definitely been a resurgence again in like the interest for it, right? More so vanilla WoW than like Wrath for sure.
2, they required social interaction. That interaction came from a large group of degenerates who were allowed to operate with freedom within a world that promoted player interaction.
You better find a new warrior. I ain't fucking letting him get into MC. Like, you will fucking either abandon him, or you'll fucking have 100 Olympus Spurs camping DRM 24/7 every time you're button through. I swear to God.
3, they
Dude, the amount of like drama there has been internally, especially revolving rank 14 grind and or Scarab Lord, was insane. Like there was like genuine like threats and like, you know, gaslighting and people like manipulating each other. It was insane. It was ridiculous, bro.
Amazing stories that transcended the game and propagated what it meant to be part of an online world. It was awesome. And that is precisely what is the classic experience. Living in a player-driven world where the main content comes from interacting with others in interesting ways. It is giving cooks the ingredients and seeing what kind of meals they prepare. It is giving people the tools, but not telling them what to do with those tools.
True.
This idea, however, has died. It was in hospice during Burning Crusade, and Wrath of the Lich King is the funeral for a classic experience. And as long as Blizzard...
Oh my god. So they went from like a nice, beautiful, and then it just
the standard progression of
it turned into a monkey.
Meaning releasing the same content that came...
Might finish later if we have the resources. Blizzard, that was Warlords of Draenor. Type a 1 in the chat if you were extremely hyped for Warlords of Draenor. I genuinely got like, whenever they announced it, I got like... I was hyped. Like for a very long time of me not playing the game, I had not played the game since beginning of Cataclysm, and I was quite excited for Warlords of Draenor. I played it, and I got disappointed.
For it, there will never be
Legion.
a resurrection of WoW Classic.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
In regards to Wrath of the Lich King Classic, there are no more spectacular stories about this game that come from playing the game. You can see outside of the
I think it's because Wrath is like, a lot of people say it's like the pinnacle of WoW, it's like that's where it peaked, but it's also where it started to like, you know, go down a little bit in terms of like, you know, the player base and stuff like that, because it deviated so much from the original like game. Not that it's a bad thing, it's still a great game, but it's a lot different, right? And it's not like an open world MMORPG anymore. It becomes somewhat more of like a queuing simulator in a way, right? But it's still not a bad game though. I mean, it's just very different. It's the start of what it, you know, of retail in a sense, right? Which is definitely a different game. Wrath was the end of so much stuff that they added. Oh, for sure, for sure.
Leveling experience of Wrath of the Lich King, there really isn't much.
Queuing simulator, you know, you queue up for a BG, you queue up for a dungeon, you queue up for a, you know, you don't really go in the world, right? You don't really like explore, and it's not really the fault of really the game itself as well. It's just because you went from having Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor in Vanilla WoW, which is all really, really used, and then all of those people were then condensed into Outland, and then all those people from Outland were now condensed into Northrend, right? So the world, even though the game gets bigger, the world gets smaller. In a way, right? Thank you for the continued sub, Ejo.
To do, certainly as it pertains to community interaction. During Wrath of the Lich King, it is clear
Flying.
Blizzard shifted its game design to a PvE/raid focused experience.
Yep.
Especially so with the design of Ulduar coming in several different, actually challenging hard mode difficulties.
But that's also where, like, you know, raiding became a lot more of the focus. I think raiding has always been the focus, but there's like, you know, that's the appeal of the game now, right? The appeal is more like that harder version of the raiding or the arena, or, you know, dungeons, which then became into challenge dungeons in MoB, right? Which then turned into Mythic Plus. That's what the game like deviated towards, right? That's why Vanilla WoW, like in terms of the whole hardcore thing, is so popular. popular because a lot of the content in Vanilla WoW is the whole experience, right? Whereas in the later versions of the game, it's about the end game, right? It's a different, enjoyment.
And a clear increase in the difficulty from 10 to 25 man encounters. Comparing raid encounters from vanilla, it's really a night and day difference mechanically.
Yeah, it is.
The hardest raid mechanics in vanilla are from Basidius and AQ40.
Dude, whenever we raid in vanilla WoW, like in Molten Core, whatever, people are like, how did he die? Was that a boss? He died so fast. Why? That's so easy. But people don't realize vanilla WoW raiding wasn't hard. The thing that was difficult about vanilla WoW raiding and is difficult is managing like 40 people in a raid. Getting 40 people to do a certain thing. And then if one person messes up, it's, it can go south, right? And that's how it is.
3 mechanics. One where you have to cast frost abilities to freeze him. You have to hit him.
It's not the bosses that are difficult, it's the players you're dealing with. And which is why there's so much goddamn drama always in Vanilla WoW, because there is an infinite amount of players in every single guild that are not happy with gear, not happy with raid spots, and not happy with left, right, and center. It's just so crazy, man.
The frost, and then you have to AoE down the ads. You have to do this 2 to 3 times. Versus looking at the hardest fight in
it's different. It's a whole different thing.
Who has 5 mechanics, 3 phases, and in 2 months has only been killed by 15% of anyone who has logged the raid in Warcraft logs. However, Vanilla had a different type of difficulty.
Ooh.
Vanilla's difficulty was substantially harder.
He's gonna get into it.
Talking about coordinating 40 people to come to a 3+ hour raid week after week, and simultaneously appeasing all of those players so they don't quit.
Dude, imagine being oh my god, a band of a courier and choker. You are bound to have people complain here.
Wrath of the Lich King has a harder end game, but you don't have as many social issues in the game. Subsequently, this means less social interaction. As a consequence of this, players have shifted their focus to be more concerned with min-maxing raid performance.
That's what it's become.
Due to the increased difficulty of the content.
To be fair, this already started in vanilla as well. Like in classic vanilla, right? Like people are so into like, oh, we gotta make sure we get the parts, because like Warcraft logs was a thing in vanilla, like in classic as well, and it turned into GDKP and stuff like that eventually, right? Seed me daddy. Mana Slaver XX. Okay.
And therefore really seem to be less concerned with playing the game in a socially meaningful way for endgame content.
Okay.
Speaking of endgame content, all endgame content in Wrath of the Lich King is instance.
Yep.
In Vanilla WoW, 5 different world bosses were not instance. Meaning, 1, multiple teams could...
If you've ever gone like at a world boss, like, raid versus raid, that is like peak vanilla fun, man. Like 2 raids, like 40, like I don't know, 100 people versus 100 people is so fun, man. It is extremely fun. Very, very enjoyable, man. But yeah, I like being sweaty in retail. Honestly, that's fine. I mean, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that retail is bad in any way. It's just like a whole different experience. And like the thing that you enjoy about retail is mostly the end game content, whether it's pushing mythic keys, if it's, transmog farming, if it's raiding, if it's, arena, whatever it may be. That's like the thing that's enjoyable about retail. And that's just not at all why Vanilla WoW is appealing. That there is no like difficult content like that that's like appealing in Vanilla WoW. It's the community and it's the raiding, and it's ending up like Asmongold right here, because he just realized that he died because he was doing a 40 versus 40.
Engage the boss at the same time and compete for getting the kill on a said boss. 2, you had to wait for the world boss to respawn before you could engage, resulting in competition to get the world bosses before the other teams could get them.
Aspen loved so much the classic WoW. Sometime in the day he logs in to see the population. I think Aspen really likes classic WoW. He just doesn't like streaming it because it's a little bit different when you're, Asmongold,
World bosses were scarce. Trying to get to them before another team was very valuable. As a result, it sometimes required guild-wide coordination to get the bosses down. This means in Wrath of the Lich King, you'll never pull a boss and hope the other team doesn't come to steal the kill from you.
Oh my god.
You'll never have to coordinate with your team in the middle of the night to quickly create a party to kill a boss before someone else.
There's definitely a lot of gatekeeping just in general within the WoW community, there's a lot of gatekeeping, right? There's classic Andes, there's hardcore Andes, there's TBC Andes, there's Wrath Andes, there's retail Andes, there's PvP Andes, there's raiding Andes, there's Mythic Plus Andes, there's Battleground Andes, there's Raidal Battleground Andes, there's Transmog Andes, there's Pet Founding Mat. There's so many people, right? There's an infinite amount of communities within the communities, and they just all hate each other. They're not optimal, let's be honest.
Gets there.
Yeah, lots of twinks as well. A lot of people love twinking as well. I had a lot of guys back in the day who just all they played WoW for was twinks. They just loved twinking. They didn't even have a max level character. They would just sit on a twink and beg for gold and Orgrimmar so they can buy an assassin's blade.
Bosses were not challenging, but all the fun came out of the interactions with your community and the aspiration to get the loot from the bosses.
Yep.
There he is! There's the boss! Kill the fucking horde! Reset him! Reset this motherfucker if we need to.
All of this really brings me to my main issue with classic WoW Wrath of the Lich King. Community interaction via world building. For Wrath of the Lich King so far, the game devs have really dialed this back compared to the previous expansions.
Yeah.
In vanilla, we had the leveling experience, unique quests for items like Benediction and Lok Dalar, attunement quests for raid entry,
lots of
open
world
quests
stuff
like AQ40 quest line, and the war effort. Everything listed besides leveling is started for or during endgame content, but brings you back to the world and requires you to interact with lower level content in a new and meaningful way.
The world
Wrath of the
matters.
Lich King will have similar content to the war effort and the Argent Crusade. It will be significantly downsized. And again, won't really stimulate community interaction in a fun and meaningful way. In fact,
this is just dailies. That's how I saw it, man. It's you go, you do your dailies, you get your rep, that's it.
But it's cool. Outside of the first 2 weeks of launch, the Argent tournament will be almost vacant as the open world part of the content serves mostly as a hub for daily quests. As everyone knows, everyone now is an oil baron in WoW. So
my god, what was this, dude? Hold. What was the prices?
Mostly as a hub for daily quests. As everyone knows, everyone.
Blood of the Old God 14,000, Seal of Betrayed King 30,000, 85,000 for Miron's Head. Jesus Christ, man. People have so much gold now in Wrath. It is insane.
Everyone now is an oil baron in WoW, so gold really isn't a meaningful...
Final split, 21,391 gold each.
...resource in the game.
Holy,
At this point, likely you are thinking, who cares about a classic experience? Who cares about community interaction? I enjoy doing my endgame content in the form of raiding weekly and logging off. To which I would say, resurgence of classic hardcore WoW shows that this community experience is something that a large amount of the player base is
cool to see.
A lot of people do value that.
Hey, that's me. Oh, that.
Classic MMORPG experience, and they come back for it. In addition to this migration, the amount of players that have left throughout TVC and Wrath of the Lich King Classic tells us this story, that people aren't happy with the game, and nostalgia only carries us so far. And if you do enjoy the game, great, to an extent, so...
Nostalgia is a strong thing, right? Nostalgia was what got me into vanilla WoW in terms of classic, right? But the game is good. It can bait you into play it, but if the game isn't good, you won't stay, right? For me, yes, I did start playing classic WoW because of nostalgia. It was like, okay, back in the day, I loved this game. It was really cool. I'm gonna play it, and then I just really liked it again. I just liked it. It was all you? No.
At the end of the day,
a lot of other people
playing
too,
a solved game. Everything has already been done. Bosses have already been killed. Strategies have already been optimized. And the challenge...
there's nothing to... everything about the game already, but that doesn't make it bad. I guess you could say that that's the good thing about retail, is that there's always new, fresh content and new stuff to explore, right? So...
technically does not exist. It's arbitrary, or a skill issue if you will. And for the record, I do play and enjoy the end game of classic WoW, but I do not think we are playing a classic experience any longer. There simply is almost no interaction as a community in this game anymore. And that is most telling through the content that is actively being created about the game, and also how the players interact as a community at this time. Let me know in the comments what you think. How do you bring the classic aspect back to classic WoW? Do you think Wrath of the Lich King is holding up to your expectations? What changes to the game would you like to see to increase community interaction? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and consider subscribing.
That was very loud.
I've been Java Monkey J.
Dude, he upped the volume for that.
Father.
Oh my god.
Is it over?
No king rules forever.
Long last. No king rules forever, my son. I see.
Only park champs before me. Damn. I think... Damn. I think he made some really good points, honestly, about the whole thing. I think in general, though, saying that there is no, classic feel anymore, or classic, that community anymore, I don't think it's very much true, because maybe it's not the exact same way of playing the game, but for me, hardcore has really like given me a lot of that feeling, you know, of like the classic community and the classic feeling in a way, right? It's not the exact same way because there's some, you know, disparities and some differences between the hardcore and non-hardcore, but it's definitely, you know, really revitalized my interest and my joy playing the game. I will definitely say that. But yeah, you're playing vanilla. I am very much playing vanilla, and I have, he's mostly when he's talking about this like non-community feeling, he's mostly referring over to Wrath of the Lich King, you know, which is honestly understandable because for me that is definitely very true. There's not that much of a, you know, that classic, you know, MMO feel anymore for the game, right? It is very much just raid lock. You lock in, you do your raids, and then that's basically it, right? And you can level a bunch of alts and then do the raids on those as well, right? The thing that's bad about hardcore is that 1 to 60 is a solo experience. Grouping up an open world is missing IMO. Very true. But if there is to become, you know, an official hardcore, you know, obviously that will be a little bit of a different than being a community thing, right? If they go down that old school RuneScape route with like a community, you know, based things as well, that could be quite sick. But we'll have to see, right? He's talking about the interaction in Classic that Hardcore Classic don't have. Yeah, exactly. There is something like that Hardcore is missing, and it is that open world like interaction because you can't really group with other players, right? But you can do it for dungeons and such. I would argue that the WoW community killed it by disallowing casuals to enjoy the game. There's definitely some gatekeeping when it comes to casual players and like, you know, parse culture and GDKPs and stuff like that nowadays, especially more so when it comes to like, you know, raiding and dungeons and stuff. You know, people don't want to take like a suboptimal spec or a suboptimal, you know, player that has not enough gear score and stuff like that. But I think that's just gaming nowadays, I feel like, for the most part, right? Obviously, it's not for every single, you know, game, but nowadays gaming is like a lot more sweaty, I would say. Community interaction or lack thereof isn't really Blizzard's fault. That's on the players. Blizzard giving you the guys exactly what you asked for. They're not in control of the players' behavior. That is also kind of true. Obviously, there is things you could fix for the game to make it like, you know, a little bit more, you know, attractive for that. And I do think there's a lot of stuff Blizzard could do, but it's also a little bit on the players, right? It's not, you know, completely on Blizzard for sure in that regard.